Yo, what is up, everybody? Popo here, bringing guys a new video, and today we're going to talk about why Sneasler is bad. Let's go. Welcome, everybody, and today we're going to be talking about why Sneasler is bad in Regulation G. There was a lot of contention going back from Regulation H to Regulation G that Sneasler, now being more discovered, would be actually a good Pokemon. And people are even saying it was more busted and more unfair than a Pokemon like Urshifu Rapid Strike, which is, in my opinion, absolutely insane of a statement to make. But, you know, some really good players, some accomplished players were actually siding with that and going, Sneasler is very good, and going into Regulation G, I think it's going to make an impact. Once again, do not agree, but we're going to look at the data a little bit here. I've brought up a couple of things. I'm over here on LabMouse. If you've never used LabMouse before, the link will be down in the description below, so make sure you check it out. It is a great site. You can check up on all the tournaments. We've done a video going over what this website does. And it is an amazing resource if you are team building or if you're getting ready for a tournament. So make sure that you do use it. But so first thing I want to go for is going to be Toronto Regional Championship, right? This is the most recent regional that we had. This is the last Regulation H tournament that we're going to have. And we can Sneasler is up here with a 39% usage. These are the moves and stuff and the Pokemon it's being used with and what it's good against and all that kind of stuff. So we see Sneasler is used very often. If we go to the teams, we can kind of check out where it had finished. So we see that Chupacross used it to finish 3rd. We see Giovanni used it to finish 4th. It was in 5th. It was in 6th. So we can really see a pattern here, right? And there's my boy Anthony. Shout out to Anthony. And then Justin Tang had it. So we could see that it is on a ton of different teams, and it's performing a similar role in each of them, which is going to be a fake out user, Dire Claw user, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on the opposition. Some of the teams do use a little bit variation on the Pokemon itself, using, you know, the Psychic Seed to get that speed boost, but otherwise it's being used for the same thing. It's Focus Sash most of the time. It's going to be Dire Claw, it's going to be Close Combat, it's going to be like Fake Out, or you can go coaching on a lot of these teams too. So that's what it's doing. But if we go to the Pokemon World Championship, which is the last Regulation G tournament that we really had to look at, we can kind of see that we're not seeing Sneasler anywhere. And I know that people are talking about how it's going to be good now after this Regulation H, and we're going to talk about that too, but I just want to show what it looked like in the past as well. So we can kind of see that it did not appear anywhere. If we go to Pokemon and we put it Sneasler, we can see it was only on one team, and that team ended up going 2-6. 2-6, and was using Close Combat, Dire Claw, Feint, and Throat Chop with a Grassy Seed, so a little bit different than what we've been seeing it recently. But, you know, it's having 2, maybe even 3 of the same moves, because Throat Chop is on quite a few of them. We saw Dark Terra, which is actually a pretty popular Terra now. Sometimes people are going for the Stellar Terra instead. We see the Unburden, which, you know, is relatively even there, but we could see that it did not perform well. So going into this regulation, a lot of people were saying that it was going to be very good. So we're gonna go to this this VGC Trainer School Open, which was for $400, which is a pretty good prize. 360 teams we saw in this. This was on the 28th. It is currently the 30th when I'm recording this. And we could see the #1 used Pokemon, 59% in this tournament, was going to be that Urshifu Rapid Strike. Pretty standard sets. We did see some interesting Terras. We ain't going to talk about that because that's not what we're here for. But if we do that same thing and we go for that Sneasler, we're going to see it made 5 appearances. And it had a 34% win rate. That's not very good. Top placement was 97th, which is actually pretty respectable considering there's 360. But if we go back, the top used Pokemon on 59% of the teams had almost a 50% win rate. And if you've seen any of my other videos where we analyze the data, 50% win rate is where you want to be for a Pokemon to consider it more than not viable. When it has, especially the more uses it has, the closer it is to that 50%, the better overall that Pokemon is. If it's having like, let's see if there's a good example, like Raging Bolt having 89 usage and having 52 win percentage, that means this Pokemon is very, 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 very good. So you can kind of look at that and make some determinations. Whereas Farigiraf did not perform well at all at, 94 usage with a 47. So the plus and 2 minus on either side can determine whether a Pokemon is very good or very bad. I wouldn't even say Farigiraf's bad. I just think maybe a lot of people are prepared for it more than anything. But Raging Bolt is very, very good. Whereas Miraidon performed very poorly, which could be kind of leaning into what I believe, whereas Terapagos is also very, very good. But the point of this is that Sneasler has not performed. And now you might say, well, that's just one tournament, right? That's just one tournament. Here's another one with 92 usages. Let's see where Sneasler kind of fit in here. We see one person use Sneasler, and they went 3 and 3. So yeah, one person used it. It went 50%, but 3 and 3, not really that good. 42nd out of 92 is pretty meh. Not a great result. And if we go down to this one, this is a 300 prize tournament, so this is also a very good one. And we could see Urshifu here, 61%, 52, almost 53% win percentage, which is actually insane. That just shows how good this Pokemon is. And we go Sneasler. We see 3 appearances, 3 and 6. So those who were saying that Sneasler was going to be a top tier threat going back into this regulation, where are you? Where are you all? Because I'm not seeing any of you. Let's see if we go back even further, if we can kind of hit, I already have it on regulation G. Let's say minimum 120 players. And let's see where we can go back to. So I guess this is the biggest tournament that has gone since we've returned. So let's go like 75 players then. See if we can hit anything that's a little bit earlier. No, that's still the earliest one. So we could kind of just see. Maybe we could check the Citrus Series one. Where's the Timmy Tuesdays? Where are the Timmy Tuesdays been? Let's see. Sneasler. We saw Sneasler on 2 teams, 3 and 6. So yeah, I think it's pretty clear. Sneasler's terrible. Urshifu is actually insane. He did pretty bad this tournament, but overall is actually insane. Raging Bull had a 62 on 24 teams. Ugh, that's gross. That should never be, like, this should not be a statistic. Even if the person who won, like, was using it, this should not be a statistic, 62%. If it's 62%, this Pokemon should be on every single team, like, without fail. Look at Miraidon, just doing terrible. But Sneasler, absolutely terrible Pokemon in this higher level format. Now that we have the data, looking at it and going, okay, this Pokemon is bad. Why? Why is Sneasler bad? And here's the thing. Its power level is very, very low and very specific. So poison types aren't super great against, steel types, against, ghost types. He's not really good against priority attacks. He's not very good at taking attacks in general. And his move works on probability. And probability is fine when you can't be one-shot most of the time. But when you have such high-power Pokemon going up against it, the chance of being one-shot increases significantly. So if you're going into something with, like, Flare Blitz and, that's all you can really do to the Pokemon because your other Pokemon's a setup Pokemon, not really going to do anything. But when you have a setup Pokemon and you have a Caly-I Shadow Rider, and now you're clicking Astral Barrage, now you can kind of see where it's going, right? You're not living in Astral Barrage, you have Focus Sash, that might not even matter. Fake out Astral Barrage still knocks you out. If you go Moonblast, Protect, there's so many different options, because even if you do have that boost from the Unburdened, let's say your Grassy Seed, let's say your Psychic Seed, whatever it might be, you have that boost, protect, Tailwind, it's over. You're still going to be slower all day than Caly-I. You're going to be slower than a few other of the Pokemon. Like, it's not good against Tornadus, which is a pretty decent Pokemon. Actually, I don't see Tornadus too high up here, but 56% win percentage in this tournament. Like, if we just go back and see where Tornadus is finishing, and on these 50%, so that's a good Pokemon. Like, that's a really solid finish. We go over here and we see 41% terrible performance by the Tornadus in this. Oh my lord, Caly-I Shadow Ride did not do well. But yeah, you could see that. And then you have Pokemon like Raging Bolt, which can take 2 hits from something like the Sneasler and still dish out enough damage to one-shot it. So like there's just no really good matchup for Sneasler to have, to whereas Urshifu is putting a lot of pressure on a lot of Pokemon. It actually trivializes a lot of the Pokemon in the meta and makes them unviable. One of those being the Sneasler, where you have to have a fighting type on your team. That fighting type cannot be Sneasler, so it has to be Urshifu Rapid Strike. If we look at this list, we have Iron Hands up here as well. 57% win percentage is really, really good. Iron Hands is good against Urshifu. If we look at some of these other tournaments, we could probably see a similar trend here. Iron Hands pretty low on this one, where Urshifu is doing a little bit better. 65 usages compared to 21 usages. This was a smaller tournament. This was 92 teams. We go look at this one, 360 teams. See Iron Hands 48%, but Urshifu also didn't perform well. So it shows that the fighting types maybe aren't that good, but then you have Zamazenta, which is another fighting type, and all these fighting types are essentially here to fight against Galapagos, to fight against Ogerpon Quarterstone. There's a couple other threats in there. Some steel threats, you know, whatever it might be. Like Roaring Moon is going up in usage for sure. You know, you got Ursalunas that people are using. That's another trend that's continuing into this game, is those Ursaluna Porygon teams, which are fine. They're fine, but if you go and look at my match I did with the AI generated team, with the Groudon team, I absolutely destroyed that, because those Pokemon, though they are good, they are just decent Pokemon in this regulation, because the power level is so much higher. Like, people don't understand that, like, power level doesn't scale. It's like scales like Dragon Ball. Like, there's like all of a sudden now Goku Super Saiyan, Goku God is like here, and you're still trying to use like base form Frieza, right? It just, you're not gonna ever win those matches. So yeah, that's why Sneasler's pretty bad. If you're using it and having success, join one of these tournaments, because I want to see an outlier. I want to see that this Pokemon can actually perform, or it's just going to stay as a dream in people's eyes. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, make sure you guys thumbs it up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you guys do so, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.